Hi, my name is Jackner John Bora, and I'm the Director of Operations and Business Development for Maya Digital. And I'm also a Senior Videographer in Maya Studios. And today, I'm going to share with you the equipment that we're using during wedding shoots and how we are maximizing them. But before anything else, I would like to show to you our demo reel in Maya Studios.
You are God's unexpected answer to so many of my prayers.
Today I'm marrying my best friend.
9 years ago, I met a beautiful girl. Someone who made me dizzy in love. Someone who made me feel high.
But above all the things that mean the world to me, I give you one thing.
You knew what was in my heart and all of its desires.
My life.
And it was you. And it is you.
The wait was indeed long, but you are truly worth the wait.
Because I could never, ever, in a million years, deserve a woman like you.
Because if I had to live my life over again, I know that I will always choose love and choose you.
At palagi mo tatandaan na mahal kita. Higit sa buhay ko.
Because I knew in my heart that you were truly worth it. You were worth the wait.
Okay, so that's our demo reel. And just like what I've mentioned a while ago, today we're going to learn the equipment that we're using and how we are utilizing them. Now, we always say in Mayad Studios that it always boils down to the skill of the videographer or the shooter. However, we always envision that the shooter or the videographer can maximize his or her skill with the equipment that he or she is using. So our goal by the end of this session or the list of episodes is that you're going to know how you're going to maximize your equipment and also to at least emulate, not really copy fully, but emulate the things that we're doing in Mayad Studios so that you can apply it to your businesses, to what you're doing, and to your shoots. So, what's in our bag? Now, to give you a glimpse of what we are using during the wedding day, here's a picture of the equipment that we're using. And through the years, we have tried to reduce the equipment that we're using so that we are mobile, we can move around. I can describe our shooting style as a run and gun style of shooting. So we don't usually use big equipment. We just focus on how we're going to move lightly, or we call it mobile, so that we can capture and prioritize the emotions or the moments that are happening during the wedding day. Now, for this episode, we're going to discuss one of the most important things that we are preparing during the wedding day. and that is the audio. Now, what we are using during the wedding day, again, let me emphasize this, is that the equipment that will allow us to be mobile and as much possible lightweight. So, with that said, we're using a typical shotgun mic that this size, in this case, a video mic Pro by Rode, and it allows us, especially for the videographer that is assigned to capture emotions or reactions from the wedding crowd or during the reception, to be lightweight and mobile, and at the same time discreet as much as possible. Now, this might not be a full-blown directional mic, but at the same time, this mic can capture the ambient sound that is happening during the wedding day or reception, which is very important when you're capturing audio of the reaction of the audience. Now, we also use this Video Mic Go by Rode, or the non-battery powered mic, when it comes to, an extreme run and gun shooting style, and if we're trying to catch up with the time. And we usually utilize this during our out-of-the-country shoots. Now, this Video Mic Go, we utilize this for our backup as a mic directed at a speaker so that we can capture additional audio material. So if we can't hijack or can connect to the mixer directly, at least we have another source of audio from the speaker utilizing the Rode Video Mic Go. Now, I'll discuss further how we are capturing that during the wedding day and reception later on. Okay? Now, I've mentioned a while ago that we're capturing a backup audio directed at a speaker during the reception or during the wedding day ceremony. And we're utilizing this recorder or the H1 Zoom. Before, we're using the H4n. However, it's very bulky, it's very big, and again, it hinders us to be mobile and lightweight. Especially during travel, it has a difficulty of setting up the settings, the recording level. However, the Zoom H1 allows us to be lightweight and mobile. At the same time, it does the job. To give you an example, this is a Zoom H1, and it usually utilizes a micro SD. So I recommend that you use a at least 16 to 64 gig so that you'll be able to leave it there and don't worry about it. Now, we also utilize the Zoom H1 if we want to record directly from the lapel. If we don't want to use any transmitters, we use the H1 Zoom. However, we very wary about the jack connection because sometimes it gets loose, and we had this problem before that we were not able to record the audio properly because the audio jack is very loose. So it has a tendency of that malfunction. Now, I recommend if you're using this device, don't go beyond the -24 level. Because once you go beyond -24, the bass could explode during the post-processing of the audio in the software that you're using for editing. It could be Premiere, Vegas. So I highly recommend that you should not go beyond -24. Now, it also goes hand in hand with the audio recording level in the camera. It varies from different cameras. For example, in Canon, you should not go beyond -24. For Nikon, you should not go beyond -12. It really depends on their gauge. And in Sony, we usually utilize that we will not go beyond -12 or 24. In between those numbers, we usually gauge the audio of our camera setting. So aside from the external, we also monitor the internal gauge for our audio in the camera. Okay? Now, the H1, again, just like what I mentioned a while ago, is being utilized for our backup audio. At the same time, you can choose between MP3 or WAV. Now, if you're just utilizing the H1 for backup, you can use the MP3. But if you want it to be the main audio, then you should be choosing the WAV file type. However, the disadvantage of the WAV is the recording is much larger on the file, and it will eat up a lot of memory in your memory card or your micro SD. Now, in MP3, it can compress the quality of the audio. It is good. However, if you want to have a lossless file, then choose WAV. Okay? Now, when it comes to recording, we're utilizing now two kinds of transmitters and receivers. The first one is the Sennheiser G3, and the second one is the Rode Link. The difference between the two is that the Sennheiser can have one transmitter and multiple receivers. Okay? On the other hand, the Rode Link is a 1:1 ratio. So one transmitter, one receiver. Now, why is that they're different? They have the same purpose of transmitting and receiving. It is because they are different with their signal being transmitted. This one, the Sennheiser G3, is utilizing a radio signal. On the other hand, the Rode Link is using a Wi-Fi signal. So we are on the crossroad between a analog and digital. Now, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of the radio transmitter and receiver is that it can have one transmitter and multiple receivers. The thing is that once you're using a radio signal, it has a tendency of having same frequencies with other radio signals and could interfere the signal that you're getting from the transmitter. So from time to time, we're experiencing some weddings, like a high-profile wedding, and they have bodyguards and they have radios in their back pockets, and we're getting their conversation because they have the same frequency. So during the wedding day, we have to change the frequency of the G3 Sennheiser. On the other hand, the digital is much clearer, better, because it's digital, but the distance is limiting the person in charge of recording the audio. It acts like a Wi-Fi. And just like a Wi-Fi, if there are walls or any interferences, it can disrupt the signal. So the published range of the Rode Link is 100 meters. However, if you're going to apply it in the real world setting of shooting, yes, it's 100 meters. However, if the mixer is behind a wall, then you have a problem because it interferes the signal. Again, it's like a Wi-Fi. So you can choose between the two, and that is the reason why we are still utilizing a radio signal, and it goes hand in hand with a Wi-Fi signal. Now, since we've discussed the transmitter, receiver, and the recording device that we're using during the wedding day, we're now going to discuss the wires that we're utilizing on those devices that we have discussed a while ago. The first one is the ever-traditional RCA. Now, the RCA is very available to any retail shop that sells wires and cables. And this cable is an analog one, which is mostly compatible with majority of the mixer being used during the wedding day. The next one is the XLR. Now, the XLR is more on the digital part. It has two kinds. The first one is the male, and the second one is female. Now, if you're using the XLR to be an output, you can use the female. Now, if you want the XLR to be the input, then you can use the male XLR. However, there are some mixer controller that interchange those kinds of wires to be an input and output. So it really depends on how you're going to utilize it. This is a 3.5 millimeter jack, which is being utilized on the transmitters that we've discussed a while ago, and also in the audio recording device, which is the H1 Zoom. Now, this is very essential to what we're doing in recording, because most of the equipment or most of the recording devices that we are using utilize this kind of wire. So we have a lot of this packed up in our bag. And of course, we have the, we call it here the PL, or there are various names for this. Now, what I have mentioned a while ago, that we're utilizing the RCA XLR, the PL is commonly used in the mixer. Now, between the three, the RCA, XLR, or PL, I'm choosing this one because whether it's digital or analog, it has this. Now, the first one is the TS, which is an analog one, and the TRS, which is a stereo. So mono and stereo. You can see the difference between the two with the lines that is visible in the ending of the PL or TS or TRS. Now, it records both left and right, that's why it's stereo, and this one just record one channel. So be very observant in utilizing those. Now, going back to the wires that we have utilized, you should be investing, aside from the devices or hardware that we've discussed a while ago. It is very important. Again, let me emphasize this. It's very important that you also invest with these wires in utilizing during the wedding day.
So what's your worst experience with audio?
Now, if in retrospect, if I'm going to remember, I forgot to record a vow or vows. I forgot to record the door opening. I forgot to record the walk of the bride. And I think the most memorable one is that I forgot to record the backup audio that is very essential for the vows. So aside from the crap recording that I have done during the wedding day, I also forgot to record that vow so that it can be something like an emotional wedding video. So what we did is that we asked the couple nicely, and then we honestly explained the situation, and we record the vows after the wedding ceremony and during the pictorials, and they obliged to our request. But that is kind of embarrassing for me, but the video turned out very well, and I hope they forgave us. Yes.
What if for example, I'm a startup videographer and I have a problem with audio, like which one should I value first? Like if I have a tight budget, which one should I first buy, and then next, and then so on and so forth?
Now, that's a very good question, especially for those who are starting in the wedding industry. Now, what I recommend to you is that you buy first or invest first in the H1 Zoom, because you can utilize that with a lapel. You can point it you can point that on the speaker, and aside from the H1, invest with the good lapel, because you can use that with the vows, with anything. So if you're starting, go buy first a recorder. Specifically, what we're using is the H1 Zoom. Okay. Now, I hope I answer your questions satisfyingly, and for you who is watching this, I hope you've learned a lot of things for the audio episode. In retrospect, we've discussed the transmitters, receivers, and the recording device that we're using, and also the wires that we are using with it, and at the same time, the microphones that we attach on our camera. So I hope you've learned a lot of stuff that you will be able to use during the wedding day, and see you on the next episode.